For some time now, China has been concentrating on space weapons, satellites that can jam radars and delay the detection of incoming hypersonic missiles. We have been telling you about this. Also about the simulations China has been carrying out. Scientists in China now claim to have developed a breakthrough technology. It is a surveillance device that can detect each and every radio signal. Let me just tell you what that means. Scientists in Beijing claim to have come up with a device that can monitor a wide bandwidth of electromagnetic spectrum real time. And how does this help the military, you ask? Well, it helps the PLA detect and lock an enemy signal, and do that at unprecedented speed. Details of this so-called breakthrough were published in a peer-reviewed paper on the 17th of January. The team says their finding will cause a quote-unquote profound shift in the art of war. When engaging in real-time monitoring, militaries can mostly only monitor signals between the range of 40 to 160 megahertz. And this is because of hardware limits. Signals outside this range are monitored by sampling scans. But this has loopholes. You can miss out something important. The Chinese scientists say their breakthrough device has extended the frequency range. The possibilities, they say, are endless. The Chinese PLA will now be able to monitor every frequency range, from those being used for radio enthusiasts to the frequency being used by Elon Musk's Starlink satellites, and also obviously in between you have frequencies being used by militaries like drones, radars, satellites. And then you have clandestine frequencies being used by spy agencies. Any kind of wireless communications. China will be able to capture all of this frequency, process the interactions and analyze them. Or so these scientists claim. The big question is, what will Beijing do with all of that data? Artificial intelligence is eating your job. Let me repeat that. Artificial intelligence is eating your job. When not directly replacing you, AI is enabling those skilled in artificial intelligence to eat your job. No matter which field you are working in, which sector and niche you specialize in, one thing is for sure, AI is slowly but surely making inroads. Here's proof. Snapchat's parent company, Snap, is reducing its global workforce by 10%. That's 540 employees losing their jobs across departments. Snap, like I was saying, is the parent company of Snapchat. Every day, over 406 million people use Snapchat. The platform has over 7 million subscribers. It has been recording a year-on-year increase in revenue. So, what was the dire need to lay off employees? Look at the bigger story here. The layoffs are in line with the trend. 32,000 techies globally have lost their jobs since the beginning of the year. This is a conservative number, by the way, and we are only just starting the month of February. You must have heard about eBay. The online retailer is cutting 9% of its full-time workforce. Around 1,000 people will be losing their jobs. An American tech company called Front Desk has fired all of its employees over a video call. Google also is cutting jobs. Employees working in digital assistant department will be affected, as will be those in the hardware and the engineering teams. And this is on top of the 100 people who have been laid off already from the advertising and sales team since the start of the year. And then you have Microsoft. It is laying off over 1,900 employees from its gaming division. Amazon has announced layoffs across departments. Audible, which is Amazon's audiobook and podcast service, is firing 5% of its employees. Amazon Prime Video, meanwhile, is laying off employees as well. Twitch is reducing its workforce by 35%. Some 500 people will be getting a pink slip. And we are not done. This is an exhaustive list. Xerox, a company that has become synonymous with photocopy, is firing 15% of its employees. In India, Flipkart is firing at least 1,000 employees. That's 5% of the company's workforce. Swiggy is laying off 7% of its workers. There are other global companies on the list: Unity, Discord, TikTok, Salesforce. They have all announced layoffs this year itself. This trend of mass firing has been there for a couple of years now. Over 240,000 jobs were cut in the year 2023. And this, by the way, was a 50% increase as compared to 2022. What gives? The pandemic overhiring? Sure. It is true that tech companies heavily hired during the pandemic. And as the world moved online, big tech hired big. And now with the pandemic over and the world adjusting to the new normal, the big tech finds itself with fat that it needs to cut. But this is just a small part of the big layoff story. The overhiring is not the only reason techies are losing their jobs after all. Does restructuring have a role to play? Sure, every now and then, companies restructure themselves to cut costs. Microsoft, for example, said that the layoffs were part of a sustainable restructuring plan. But if you notice the trend here, the layoffs this year are more targeted. And they are not just to cut costs. Let's snap back. Snap will have to cough up anything between $55 million to $75 million in severance packages and other exit costs. So it's not really cutting costs in the short term. And this is where AI makes an entry. In the year 2023, Snap launched 2 generative AI features. The first one is a chatbot called My AI. The second is a selfie generator called Dreams. Snapchat is incorporating AI into operations. And is that the real reason behind the mass layoffs? Time for some eye-opening truth. You see, while tech companies are firing people, they are also hiring people. They are hiring employees skilled in AI and machine learning. From Microsoft to Google, they are all trying to make leaps as far as AI is concerned. They are investing big in AI, hiring people skilled in AI. CompTIA ran a little analysis. It found that jobs requiring AI skills increased by around 2,000 between December and January. In January alone, there were over 33,000 job postings in AI and AI-related jobs. And here are some of the roles being offered: AI researcher, AI technical solution lead, generative AI quality engineer, AI data science. You see, the restructuring that it's talking about has a lot to do with shifting workforce and making space to accommodate AI. It has a lot to do with introducing AI to increase productivity of the existing workforce. Xerox, for example, is firing people to introduce a new operating model. So the moral of the story of big tech and big layoffs: embrace AI or let AI replace you. The choice is yours. What will you choose? Shifting focus to India now, where the government of the state of Uttarakhand is trying to bring in a uniform civil code. A bill was tabled by the Chief Minister, Pushkar Singh Dhami. It proposes a common law on marriage, divorce, land, property and inheritance for all citizens, irrespective of their religion. If the bill is enacted, Uttarakhand will become the first Indian state to adopt the Uniform Civil Code after gaining independence in 1947. It has been operational in the Indian state of Goa since the days of Portuguese colonial rule. The Uniform Civil Code, or the UCC, is a hotly debated topic in India. It also comes months ahead of the elections in India. it is an important issue because implementing UCC is among the long-running pleasures of Prime Minister Modi's party, the BJP. And as the BJP seeks a third term, UCC is one topic that is bound to keep coming up. So let's just understand what this is all about. A uniform civil code is a set of laws that govern personal matters. The UCC is based on the idea that there is no link between religion and law in modern societies. While it is common practice in many countries to have a uniform code, in India, Hindus, Muslims, Christians and large tribal populations follow their own personal laws and customs. There is also an optional secular code which is used for marriage, divorce, adoption and inheritance. UCC also features in the Indian Constitution. Article 44, corresponding with the directive principles of state policy, says that the state shall try to provide for a citizen a uniform civil code throughout India. So what is the UCC bill that was tabled today? The bill that was tabled by the BJP-led government in Uttarakhand includes recommendations like complete ban on polygamy. It also bans child marriage. Some of the key features of the bill including a proposal to increase the legal age of marriage for girls to 21 years, equal rights for men and women on matters pertaining to divorce, as well as shares in ancestral property. It offers full rights to children who were adopted, born out of wedlock, or conceived through surrogate births. Some of these measures are meant to combat a disturbing trend. In recent years, a majority in the Hindu community tended to marry off daughters after they turned 18, but Islam's Sharia laws do not restrict the marriage of girls who are minors. The state cabinet has given its approval to the draft bill on Sunday. Chief Minister Thami has said that the proposed UCC bill will not only be for the good of all sections, but it also aligns with Prime Minister Narendra Modi's vision of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. It means welfare for all. According to Indian media reports, a government-appointed panel led by retired Supreme Court Judge Ranjana Prakash Desai drafted the 749-page report. It contains several recommendations. The panel also collected 2.33 lakh pieces of written feedback online. They also organized more than 70 public forums. And during these meetings, panel members engaged with roughly 60,000 people, and that is how the draft came into being. The recommendations in this report are aimed at fostering gender equality and social cohesion. In the state of Uttarakhand, a special 4-day assembly session has started. It will continue till Thursday. The recommendations will be deliberated upon during this session. The proposed Uniform Civil Code in Uttarakhand reportedly goes beyond religious boundaries. It seeks to ban practices like halala and iddat, which are Islamic practices that a woman must go through after a divorce or the death of the husband. The recommendations also promote declaration of live-in relationships once the proposed UCC is in place. Live-in relationships will have to be registered under law. Legal experts claim that registration of such relationships would benefit both